So a very warm welcome. We're in Memmingen, Echo Delta Juliet Alpha. We're in the PMDG 737-600, the smallest of the NG series. ASL Airlines of France, livery I made earlier today. And we're going to be flying over to Pyrenees, which is Lima Fox Bravo Papa, which is, I think, east of Biarritz and north of Lourdes, which is Lima Fox Bravo Tango. We've done everything in SimBrief and Navigraph charts. So Memmingen is southern Germany, north of the Alps, and Pyrenees is here, just north of the Pyrenees. And we've got a fairly brisk wind running down the runway 24 for takeoff. That's all fine. Very slight tailwind for landing, 2 knots, nothing to be worried about. 2,500 meters I think we've got at Pyrenees, and we'll use FSHud for ATC, and we're expecting the UMTEX 1 Alpha departure from 24. So let's get underway. Now, just before we do, let me just suggest that having lots of different aircraft types and being skilled in them is a good thing, because it really increases your airmanship and your knowledge, and a lot of the knowledge you'll have from procedural flight, charts and ATC and all these other associated things, that they just build on that, on your capacity, your knowledge base. So it's a very, very good thing to be able to fly a different aircraft. The 737-600 for $35 is exceptional. Not fly-by-wire, but it is absolutely just, it's perfect. It really is a very, very capable aircraft. Lots of functionality, lots of options. Anyway, let's get inside. And with the PMDG, we're going to start with one of the fuel pumps, this one, and then start the APU. So switch it on, wait a couple of seconds for the door to open, and then we'll just press start. There we go. So that's now firing up. While we're here, we'll just give it a little bit of lighting, and we'll do the window heat. It takes a short while in the 737 to warm up. Then we're going to flight level 390, so we're going to put the flight level, the cruise level here. So 390, and oops, there it is, 390, and the landing altitude is about 600 feet, so we're going to put 650 for the landing altitude here. All this sort of thing is done automatically in the Airbus. This is Boeing, it's not fly-by-wire, it's got a lot of clicky switches and press buttons, and yeah, you have to roll your sleeves up and get involved with this airplane. It's fabulous. Right, so the APU is just going to come online, and when it does, there we go, we can put the generators on. 2 generators, and now the generators are on, we can give it some air so the passenger back can have some air conditioning. So that's the APU bleed. So we're all good. Okay. We start at the EFB on the electronic flight bag, and we just press request data from SimBrief, which we have done. I'll just show you very quickly. SimBrief, there we go. We've done the exact same route that you've seen in the Navigraph charts. So we got fuel, block fuel 6.2, passengers 72, and yeah, we'll import all this in a moment. Okay, so once you've done that here on the EFB, it means you can go to the FMC or the CDU, the computer display unit. Go to FMC there, pause in it, and then route. And because you did it in the EFB, you can then request the flight here. So write 3, and there it is. Echo Delta Juliet Alpha Lima Fox Bravo Papa. So we press left 2. And then we're not going to worry about GSX, we're just going to press set payload and set fuel. 1 click for each of those, sorted. Then we select the route. Okay. And we just wait for it to wibble around a bit. While that's happening, okay, now we can do load. And then it'll be activate and then execute. While it's doing that, we can just give it a little bit of down lighting, flood lighting. And panel backlighting. So we'll activate and execute. And now we need to do the departure and arrivals. Okay, so we go to departure and arrival, then departure. We know we're on the runway 24, and we know it's the UMTEX 1 Alpha, which is that one there. Sorted, press execute. Back to the index page. The arrival at Lima Fox Bravo Papa is the ILS 31. It is the, I think it's the Agni 7 Romeo, but I need to check. So Navigraph chart, so the Agni 7 Romeo, and the transition is TEPT 1. So Agni 7 Romeo, and we need to transition, so we just do next page, TEPT 1. There it is. Agni 7 Romeo, ILS 31, TEPT 1. Execute. Okay. Legs page, and we just scroll through there, make sure there's no discontinuities, and there aren't, so that's all fine. So next thing, we go to the init ref, and we need to import the weights and all the various bits of data that we've got for the flight. To bring in the zero fuel weight, just click this twice, it imports it. We've got 2.2, and I'll show you that. Reserve, so they're reserve 2.2 there. So 2.2, that can go to reserve. And the costing index would be something like 7, I think it was. Let's have a look, 7. So I'm in a bit more of a hurry than that, so I'm going to go 35. Fuel is cheap in the sim, 35. Going to go flight level 390, as I said. And now we want to put the wind in. And the wind at altitude, we go to the briefing preview. Sorry, let's do that again. There it is. 276.51. So 276/51. And that goes right to. And then we can execute. Next thing is the N1, the takeoff power. Okay, so the 737 doesn't just have flex, the equivalent of flex, and it's called assumed temperature, but it's also got D rates. So the normal power output is 22,000 pounds of thrust each side, but it's got a D rate 20,000 pounds and 18,000 pounds, collectively known as takeoff 1 and takeoff 2. But it's also got a bump, so you can increase it to 24,000 pounds of thrust if you want. Okay, so we need to find the right values for this. So let's go to the EFB performance tool, and we're just going to select the runway, and we know it's 24. Going to import the data from the aircraft, the weights and stuff, and we're going to run with flaps config optimum. It will decide what flaps we need. We could tell it, but we'll let it decide. Import the weather, and now do calculate. So it's saying to me the assumed temperature 59, and we want the thrust rating takeoff 2, flap 1. Okay, so it's thrust rating 2, takeoff thrust 2, 59 is the assumed temperature, and then we want to just change this from climb 2 to climb 1, just to give it a little bit more welly for, you know, the higher flight levels. Okay, so that's now the N1 limit set. Okay, and that's going to give us, I think, 82%. Okay, takeoff, flap 1. To get the trim, we click that once and we click it again, and that gives us 5.26. before I do anything else, I'll input that now. So just hold my trim wheel and I'll move this indicator to 5.2. Something like that. There we go. Okay. And then we want the takeoff speeds. And here we've got 23, 25, 26. And here we've got 23, 25, 26. They're all correct. You would use the higher values if they're different, and they're often different. So, right 1, right 2, right 3. That's the CDU with the FMC complete. Okay, we just keep that on the legs page, and here we will put this on the progress page. Okay, you can't press progress until you've gone at least once into the FMC. Now we can press progress. Okay, we're going to give it a little bit of lighting. Oops, that's a bit too much. And I'm going to give it a little bit of lighting on the pedestal as well. This aircraft has a heads-up display. These are all configurable options, and I've elected to go with the analog secondary instruments here. So, engine instruments are shown here. Not very many of them, you might say. Well, that's because if there is a problem or a parameter out of whack on the, during startup or takeoff, it will come up and lots of lights will flash at you. Probably get warning horns as well, okay? On the other hand, sim pilots like to have engine instruments displayed. So if you press engine here, you get the other engine instruments coming up on the lower display. And if you press it again, those will come up here in a reduced format. There we go. So now we've got all the engine instruments here. Real world airlines don't do this though, because it's distraction. They just keep it simple. If the aircraft wants to tell you something, it will. Next we press system, and that will give us hydraulics, it will give us brake temperatures and control deflections. Okay. Next, press traffic on the EFIS panel, and we press data. Data will put additional information on each waypoint, if there's a speed constraint, or if there's an altitude constraint. Okay, and we're going to press traffic on this. Traffic just gives you range rings, these rings. Very easy to see the distance then of something that is passing you by. We're going to just get our clearance now from ATC.
Memmingen ground, French post 995, with information X-ray. Request clearance to Pyrenees. We are at stand 1.
French post 995, cleared to Pyrenees. Expectant 1 Alpha departure runway 24. Initial climb flight level 120. Then as 5. Squawk 6554.
So flight level 120.
Cleared to Pyrenees. Expectant 1 Alpha departure runway 24. Initial climb flight level 120. Then as 5. Squawk 6554. French post 995.
French post 995. Readback is correct. Report when ready.
Okay,
Report when ready. French post 995.
So now we can put the heading of the runway 235 for runway 24. 235. And we want to put the V2 speed. The V2 speed is here, okay, or the FMC 126, and I add 10 to this. Some companies add 5, some add 20, I add 10. So 126, that gives us 136. Now we need to switch on the flight directors. They can come on, 1 and 2. And we've got a squawk, and that was 6554. There's the transponder, so we dial in 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, and that goes to TA. T8. Okay, and because we're fully loaded, we didn't worry about GSX. We can actually close up the aircraft. So to do that in the PMDG, if you just go external view quickly, you'll see we've got lots of ground servicing. This is all PMDG gubbins, okay? and we're just going to switch that off. To switch that off, we need first to put the parking brake on. Put the parking brake on. It's realistic insofar as you've got to press both brake pedals in, okay, both brake pedals, and then click the button. There we go. So now my park brake is on. To disengage the park brake, you just press down both brake pedals. See? There we go. So put it back on. There we go. Now that the parking brake is on, we can close up the aircraft, and we just go to Menu, FS Actions, Ground Services, remove the wheel chocks, and I'll show you that just starts the whole process of everything being shut down and moved away. The door's shut, the stairs are going, and the loaders are going. This is not GSX, as I said, this is all PMDG stuff. Okay. So that's going, and a little bit more housekeeping to do. We've got that. Okay, so we're fueled, so we can put the fuel pumps on. Okay, and we're just going to get startup clearance.
Memmingen ground, French post 9905, request engine start.
So seatbelt signs are on.
French post 9905 cleared for engine start.
Cleared for engine start. French post 9905.
Okay, so we're not using GSX, so we'll just assume that the ground staff has said the aircraft is clear. There's no engineers or ground staff with their fingers in their flap runners or hatches, so we can put the hydraulics on knowing that nobody's going to lose their fingers. So the hydraulics are on now. We need the APU now to feed the start of engines 1 and 2, so we've got to switch off one of our 2 packs. We've got 2 packs, one on the left, one on the right. We're just going to switch one of them off, left one. So the pack is now off, and that means that there's more air now. Spin the engine up. Okay, we've got nav light, so that's nav light on, and this is the beacon. And to put the strobe on, you just move this one to the upper position. That's nav light and strobe light. We don't want strobe, we want nav light and beacon. Okay, so we're ready to start, so we just do number 2, bring that to ground start, and here we will see start valve is open, and you'll see that the engine is spinning up. Okay, and that's number 2. Okay, we're looking for 24, and then we can put the fuel on, and the fuel is here, just at the back of the throttles. 24 we've got, number 2 can come on, and then we just pay attention to what's happening here. So oil pressure we've got fuel flow, so, and we've got light up, the EGT is rising, and the big fan is turning. Turning, burning, oiling and fueling, I think they say. And we just wait until the start valve is closed. There it is. Now we can start number 1. So number 1 goes to ground start, and we just watch it spin up. And you'll see oil pressure will start to register quite quickly. There we go. And again, we're looking for 24. Two, 3, 4. Number 1. Okay. So looking for fuel flow. There we go. Got fuel flow. Got light up. And the big fan is turning. Oil temperature and oil pressure registering, so could start number 1 as well. And again, just wait for the start valve to finish. Then we'll do the housekeeping on the overhead panel. There we go, start valve's out. So we've got to put the engine 1 and engine 2 generators on. And when we do excuse me, when we do that, the APU generators will come offline. So engine 1, engine 2, there's the APU generators offline. That means we can switch the APU off. Okay. Then we can switch off the APU bleed, put the the isolation valve, sorry, to automatic, and then we can switch the pack that we switched off back to on, to auto. Then we can do probe heat, and that's pretty much it at the top. Now down here we can go to auto brake rejected takeoff. We want flaps 1, so we just hit the flap lever. There you go, one side of flap, you'll see them moving. There we go. We put the transponder to Tara, and we are good to taxi. So we're not going to need to push back, just going to taxi from stand, just going to give it a bit of hard lock to the right. Okay, so let's get taxi clearance. And I just need to have a quick look to see if there is a way.
Taxi.
Yeah, there is a way here to onto the runway, so I'm going to take a
French
right
Post 995, taxi to holding point runway 24, hold short of runway 2406.
Okay, so
taxi to holding point runway 24, hold short of runway 2406, French Post 995.
Okay, I'm not going to put the taxi lights on yet, I don't want to blind anybody, so give it a little bit of throttle, start to move. And we'll just do a very sharp turn here. Okay, now we can put our taxi lights on. And what we're also going to do is going to put the ignition to continuous. Don't really need to do that today because there's not very much snow over cloud, but still. Okay, so we'll follow that taxi line. So the 737 hasn't got a takeoff config button like the Airbus or many other modern aircraft, but what you do is you blip the throttles to full, and if it squawks at you, there's a problem. So I'll do that now. You'll see the throttles just moving forward. No sound, no warning. That means the configuration is correct. Okay, so we are good.
Memmingen ground, French Post 995, runway vacated.
Yeah, we haven't actually got to the runway
French
yet.
Post 995, continue taxi, via 24.
Continue taxi, via 24, French Post 995.
There's obviously a bit of a disparity between where it thinks runway 24 is and where we know it to be.
French Post 995, contact Memmingen Tower 126.855.
Okay, so they've asked us to
Contact
the
Memmingen
tower.
Tower
So that's okay, we'll come to a stop.
126.855, French Post 995.
Okay. And we'll just ask for departure.
Memmingen Tower, French Post 995, runway 24 ready for departure. French Post 995, wind 256 degrees at 14 knots. Runway 24 cleared for takeoff.
So we've got to backtrack, of course.
Runway 24 cleared for takeoff. French Post
So I'm
995.
going to put the landing lights on. I'm going to put the strobe light on. Okay. And now we can just start our backtrack. Okay. So there is a displaced threshold here, and you can use a displaced threshold for takeoff but not for landing. So I'll just, I mean, this thing won't need very much runway, so I'm not going to taxi all the way down to the end of the displaced threshold. I'm just going to turn it around here. Okay.
Memmingen Tower, Beaufort 7883, request cross runway 2406. Beaufort 7883, hold position. Hold position, Beaufort 7883.
So we've got takeoff clearance. We know the configuration is correct, so we can just go for it straight away. So I'm just going to line up, put the elapsed timer on. Okay, put the auto throttle on, bring the throttles up, get them stable. Okay, so thrust is applied. So accelerating. 82% thrust. The thrust is set. 90 knots. There is a call out for V1 and rotate. Quite quiet though. There we go. So this is not fly-by-wire, so it's a lot of hand flying.
7883,
So
cross runway
positive rate,
2406,
gear
when
can come
vacated
up.
contact ground 121.68.
Caution, taxiway. Caution, taxiway.
Cross runway 2406, when vacated contact ground 121.68, Beaufort 7883.
So we're going to go flight level change. We're going to go LNAV. We're going to go autopilot. Okay. And it's now tracking the flight plan, and we're above our acceleration altitude, so I'm just going to get the aircraft to accelerate. And then we can do flap. Okay, so flaps up. So flaps up there. Switch off the auto brake. We also switch off the landing gear, so that's up at the moment. Just click it down to the middle position. That's now off. And we can go VNAV. And now accelerate to 250 knots. Tidy up at the top. So
French post 995,
lights can
contact
come off.
Munich radar 129.45.
And we can put the weather radar
Contact Munich
on.
radar 129.45, French post 995.
I forgot to change the barrow from inches to HPA or millibars.
Munich
Either way,
radar,
it's
French post
standard,
995,
so I
on 1
just
alpha
press the middle
departure,
of that
passing
button.
flight level 60,
Standard.
climbing to flight level 120.
Okay. So it's at 250 knots. It's on climb
French post
power. It does that
995
itself.
identified. Continue climb flight level 120.
Continue climb flight level 120.
Continue
good.
climb flight level 120, French
Look
post
outside.
995.
Do the new LED lights square. Okay. So 10,000 feet. The aircraft is now going to accelerate to its climb speed of 295. So we can switch off the landing lights. clear of the cloud now, switch off the continuous ignition, and we're above 10,000 at their seats. Okay, so we're all good. The aircraft is now going to climb to flight level 120. We haven't had further climb, and I know they're a little bit slow here. We don't usually get climb to cruise until we go over Switzerland. So
French post 995, contact Munich Center 120.65.
Munich Center 120.65. French post 995. Munich Center, French post 995, 1 Alpha departure, at flight level 120.
Sent to the heading bugs, good airmanship.
French post 995, radar contact, continue climb flight level 260.
260.
Continue climb flight level 260. French post 995.
Press this little button here, and that will kick it into action. There we go. So you'll see the engine spooling up, and the aircraft will start to climb. Perfect. So on the EFB, we've got ground stuff. We've got the performance tool, as you've seen, and landing tool. And here we've got various bits of a map, weather. We've got charts as well. Some settings, although most of the settings are in the FMC, and you've also got the ability to install nav data here, because you can actually do it straight through the EFB. So we're all good, really. So I don't think we're going to get a
Golf
climb
8552,
to cruise.
contact Zurich Center 126.225. Zurich Center
level higher.
126.225, over 8552.
So what we'll do, we will pause, and you can rejoin us when we're at the cruise getting ready for our descent. Alright, see you in a bit. Okay, so welcome back. We're at the top of descent. Go back into the aircraft. We are actually on a 4 times speed, which is where we left it, and pause at top of the descent is active. So we'll just reset that first of all, and then we'll switch the pause off. We need to go external. Oops, right. So. And then we can we've got clearance down to flight of 190, so we can do that. Now, in a Boeing, you don't actually have to actively press level change or anything. When it gets to top of descent, as long as the MCP altitude is set and checked, and you're on VNAV, which we are, the aircraft will descend on its own. So we're just a few miles now from our top of descent, and it will start to come down on its own. And what is the... let's have a look. I think there is no cloud according to active sky. There's no cloud anywhere, so it's not that that's not working, it's just there is no cloud. Okay, so let's have a look. So here we go, we're just coming up to the top of descent, and you'll see the aircraft will start to come down on its own. A little bit of housekeeping to do though, so we obviously want to brief on the approach. So there we go. There's the vertical deviation index, and you'll see the aircraft just starts down on its own. No further action required from us. Okay, So let's have a look at the approach. So we've got the Agni 7 Romeo. From here, that's Agni at or below flight level 190, then this waypoint here, 15 miles to TEPT, which presumably is here, that's at or below 14. TEPT is between flight level 140 and flight level 070. Okay, and then we've got the ILS, which is here, and this starts at TEPT. What's the other one here? Well, this seems to go just to TEPT. Is there another chart that we need? Let's have a look. Standard arrivals. Approach. Initial approach runway 31. So we also need... Is it this? No, I think the ILS should take us from TEPT. I can't see it though written on the chart. Maybe it isn't. No, I think it will get us to TEPT. I'm hoping anyway. So the ILS will start IBP 3,000 feet, max 210. And then we'll start an ILS 7.5 miles from PYR, which is the ILS, and that's when we pick up the glide. So we need to get this dialed in. So 110.1 and 305. Unlike the Airbus, you have to enter this manually. Okay, so let's just get that up on screen again. 110.1.305. So we go to here. Standby nav radio 110.1. Transfer that across. And 305. Okay, so that's the ILS taken care of. Just centre our heading bug. Okay. And a couple of bits of housekeeping on the CD or FMC. Init-ref, it wants to know what flaps we're going to be coming down with. So let's have a look at the weather. So we've got a 4-knot tailwind. I think that's acceptable for 2,500 metre runway, and I think we'll use flaps 30. So we'll just opt with flaps 30, which is 120 knot VREF speed. So you click the one that you want and you click it against right 4. So once you've done that, flaps 30, 120 on the speed, that's repeated on your PFD. Go back to the legs page. I don't know where the chart for this is. Very strange. So there, PYR is the ILS, PU is the NDB. Let's get that dialed in. 364. NDB is down here. 3. 36. 364. Transfer it. So that's the ADF number 1, so we can click that down. Okay. So maybe I should put that in the other radio. So 3. actually only got the one ADF. Okay. The vertical deviation index here tells you how high or how low you are. So at the moment we're about 45 feet below profile, and that's repeated here with this little magenta triangle. So have we got any cloud yet? No. Yeah, I don't know whether that must be a chart. How can there not be? Ah, so this is what it uses. Okay, so it goes from Tepti, Lalta, Sudad, Bagro. Okay, and that's where you pick up the ILS, I think, from IBP 31. Where is that? IBP 31 there. Okay. See, sometimes you just got to go ferreting around for these additional charts.
French Post 995. Contact Pyrenees approach 128.8.
Okay, so we got clearance down to
Pyrenees approach
190,
128.8. French Post 90905.
passing 205. So hopefully they'll give us continuous descent.
Pyrenees approach. French Post 90905 passing flight level 200 descending to flight level 190. French Post 90905 radar contact. Continue descent flight level 140.
140.
Continue descent flight level 140. French Post 90905.
Okay.
French Post 90905, cleared Alpha Golf November 7 Romeo arrival Tet 1 transition. Cleared Alpha Golf November 7 Romeo arrival Tet 1 transition. French Post 90905.
Oh, my friend Roy. I think he's at Lourdes. So right now it's bang on the profile, and what we need to do really is to just have a quick look at the landing. So landing dispatch, so runway is 31. We import, so flaps 30, we'll do the weather, and then we just do calculate. Okay, so how much do we need? auto brake 3. Let's see where the so runway 31, we vacate to the right, that midway down, or taxi all the way to the end. Okay, so we're cleared now on the TEP1 transition, so we can continue our
French
descent.
post 90905, continue descent flight level 70. Continue descent flight level 70. French post 90905.
So it said flat, auto brake 3, so we can make that turn off. Just zoom in a bit on the map. Double check the frequency.
Below tier 9 Mike uniform. Contact Marseille Center 124.5.
1 level 1.
Contact Marseille Center 124.5. Below tier 9 Mike uniform.
Okay, so just passing 10,700 of flight level 108, and the aircraft, you can see, is now slowing down. You can see that the managed speed, the VNAV speed, is reducing to 250. We can help it with a little bit of spoiler. Below 10,000, of course. Oh, need to strap them in, should have done that earlier. Do landing lights. $240. Okay, so spoilers can come in. So we're at TEP2 now. Do we need anti-icing on for this? I don't think we do. Maybe a little bit. Engine anti-icing is coming on very quickly. Active sky, you'll notice that as we go through the cloud, we'll get bounced around a little bit. I absolutely love that feature. And it's the main reason I use active sky over default weather, because I think it's just so immersive. When you go through clouds and you get bounced around. Not that we've been bounced around very much. So our approach speed, sorry, our ref speed is 120, our approach speed would be 125. Zoom in again on the map. Okay, so I'm just coming up to Lalta. There looks to be a couple of speed constraints, so we'll just have a look at them. So we're on this chart at the moment. So Lalta is max 220 on the speed. And IBP31 is max 210. Okay. Okay. We've got about 1,000 to go, so let's just find what our next altitude should be. 3,000. So I think we just assume that we are clear, although I haven't actually heard that. I'm just going to pretend that we are. So 3,000 dialed in, set and checked. Got the ILS, see the diamond just come in. That will go magenta and start to run from our left to the middle as we intercept the localizer. And the 737, you can actually go flaps 5 up to I think 250 indicated, but there's no need at the moment. We don't need to slow down. And with the 737 you can land with it still in auto throttle. I prefer to just land without auto throttle, so I'm just using the throttles manually, and then you just need to match your throttle position, actual physical throttles, with where the engine indicators are. Okay, so that, there you go, see it's moving in. So we can go localizer mode for the moment, and when it's half scale deflection as it is now, localizer is active. It went from white to green. That means it's established on the localizer. There's our glide slope. It's a bit far out still.
French post 90905, continue descent flight level 50. Continue descent flight level 50. French post 90905.
Okay, I'm going to put the lights on because I won't get a chance to do that. Anti-icing can come off now. Okay. So we'll need to slow down. So what we're going to do is put the flaps out now. That will give it drag. Help it slow down. And I will give it a little bit of spoiler as well, because there is a speed restriction here. So we're just breaking the speed limit at the moment. Okay, and we'll go flap 2. And we'll go all the way up to flap 5.
French Post 995, continue descent 3000, QNH 1015.
Okay,
Continue
we'll go
descent
flaps
3000, QNH 1015.
That just
French
adds
Post 995.
drag, so you know the aircraft is dirtier and it will slow down a bit more. Right, spoilers can come in, and I'm going to arm them. They're armed. We've got the transition altitude that we're going through, transition level, so we can go to barometric pressure, and we'll just press B 1015.
Twin Jet 78 November Lima, contact Marseille Center 124.5.
Just zoom a bit on the map.
Marseille Center 124.5, Twin Jet 78 November Lima.
What we can do now, we can just go approach mode, because we're pretty much on the diamond, so we'll go approach mode. Glide slope should become active, so we're now fully established on the glide and on the localizer. $150 on the speed.
French Post 995, cleared ILS approach runway 31. Report established on localizer. Cleared ALS approach, report established on localizer. French Post 995.
I'll be up. You can see his runway ahead. Pyrenees to our left. It's misty, isn't it? Getting to be at that time of year. And we just change the format of this. No, which one is it? This one. You can see the ADF needle in blue here, pointing straight at PU.
2500.
And that will swing round shortly.
French Post 995, established on localizer. French Post 995, continue approach. Will continue approach. French Post 995. French Post 995, contact PAU Tower 124.15. PAU Tower 124.15, French Post 995. PAU Tower, French Post 995, on final 31.
So notice we're no longer in managed.
French Post
mode, that's
995,
Airbus
wind 079
VNAV
degrees at
or
5 knots.
LNAV. We're now
Clear to land 31.
approach mode on the glide slope.
Clear
and
to
on
land,
the localizer.
runway 31, French
Right,
Post
so we're cleared to land,
995.
so landing lights, well, they're already on. So we can do gear down and flap 15. The DME for the ILS is shown here. We're 5 miles out, 4.8. I think we should exit to the right, didn't we? It's flaps 30. You've got 2 more stages of flap to go. So it's going to slow the aircraft down now. Remember, it was 125 on the VREF. 125 is dialed in. 2 more stages of flap. 1, 2. So we should be good. There we go. So the aircraft is now fully configured. And we're 1600 feet on the glide, on the localizer.
Approaching 3-1.
Okay, so let's autopilot off, auto throttle off, switch the klaxons off, there we go. Auto throttle, just moving my throttle levers now just to match where the engines were. Okay, I'm a little bit right of centre, it's okay. Really nice to hand fly this. It does feel like a, you know, not fly by wire, nice and easy to fly.
300.
Okay, a bit high and a bit fast, 5 fast. Okay.
100.
100.
50. 30. 20. 10.
Okay. So reversers are out. Auto brake is doing its job. Let the aircraft decelerate. We're not going to make that turn off. I think there's one more. Reversers can come out. And auto brake.
French post 90905, when vacated, contact ground 121.755.
Okay. So there's a military apron to our left. We want the.
100.
When vacated, contact
Civil
ground
apron to our right.
121.755, French post
Yeah, I think that
90905.
might have been the turn off. Doesn't matter. Okay, well we might as well get the APU
900
fired
remaining.
up. Just let it open the door. We'll take this turn off here. Start up the APU. Okay, and we'll come to a stop the other side of the hold. So we'll just come to a stop here.
PU ground, French post 90905, runway vacated.
Okay. So
French
we
post
can put flaps up,
90905, taxi to gate 2, via Alpha Delta Foxtrot.
put the spoilers in.
Taxi to gate 2, via Alpha Delta
Switch off the
Foxtrot,
auto
French
brake.
post 90905.
Landing lights can come off. Weather radar can come off. And I think we're good. Keep the transponder on for the moment. We'll just taxi. They've given us a gate, gate 2. As if I know where that is. I have no idea where that is. So it should be all cleaned up. Flaps up. Slats away. Reverses in. Lights off. Strobe light. We haven't done that. Strobe light. There we go. Strobe light. Now this is a freeware scenery from French Occitanie, I think it is. Very nicely detailed. Completely free. I think this is an alternate airport to, that's a GA apron there, we don't want that one. We want the one here on the left. Okay, so I think it's an alternate airport for Biarritz. Oops, hang on. My brakes aren't working, that's very interesting. Okay, don't know what happened there.
French post 90905, taxi to gate 2, via Delta Foxtrot. French post 90905, taxi to gate 2, via Alpha Foxtrot.
Taxi to gate 2, via Alpha Foxtrot, French post
So
90905.
what happened there? I was pressing the brakes, nothing happened. Okay, so we'll come left here. Further left. Okay. I'm not sure which is stand 2. There's stand 1. There's 1B. There's stand 2. So we'll switch off our lights. I don't want the GTO to go away. Lights are off, not blinding anybody on the ground. There we go, external view. Supposed to stop next bit. So hold the brakes in, parking brake on, APU is fired up, get the APU generator on, and then we'll do fuel cutoff 1, fuel cutoff 2, and we will do beacon lights off and passenger signs off. And we'll just put the APU bleed on and the isolation valve on as well, so we can switch off the probe heat, window heat, don't burn those out, and we'll deploy some gubbins. So let's do FS actions, ground services, wheels, chocks on. So we will do doors, air stair, left entry door, and we will also open the cargo door. So open forward cargo, open rear cargo. There we go. So cargo 1 and 2 is open. There's the air stair, and there's the door. So there we go. It's a lovely airport actually. Really nicely done. So, welcome to Pyrenees. I hope you've enjoyed that. Our flight in the 737-600. Okay. Take care all. See you all in the next one. Bye now.